Secretary, starring Maggie Gyllenhaal and James Spader, a film mostly known for being the BDSM movie before the dark times of 50 Shades of Grey, which I think is a tiny bit unfair because as much as BDSM is a central part of the story as the subject matter, I'd say the movie is actually a fairly competent character study. The central character, Lee, played by Gyllenhaal, gets out of a mental institution after finishing treatment. We learn that she had self-harm tendencies in the past. She gets a job as a secretary to a slightly weird lawyer played by James Spader. He's very clearly attracted to her, and she to him, yet their relationship at the beginning is purely professional. As time goes on, though, tensions rise, and eventually things sort of get out of control with him punishing her for work mistakes by spanking her ass, for example, and her in turn beginning to make those mistakes on purpose to be punished, to have that thrill that to her is the perfect replacement for cutting herself. So the story may sound a bit weird for someone like me who is, foreign to those types of tendencies, to those types of fancies. And it is properly weird, as the dynamic between the characters shifts, we get into situations that range from unusual to completely crazy. To the point that there are certain moments in the film, particularly towards the end, which I think you can make a case that we don't know for sure if they really happen or are just figments of Lee's imagination. The one thing I noticed about the film is how non-judgmental it seems to be. Despite the fact that Lee's tendencies do stem from self-harm, which is sort of an illness, her fascination with BDSM is never really shown as something wrong or wicked or sick. I think the film manages to stay rather impartial, presenting this as a sexual preference that it isn't right or wrong in itself. It just is. And hey, that's kind of true. If two adult people consent and don't hurt anyone else in the process, then who are we to judge? Apart from this, I think the main strength of the film are the two performances. Gyllenhaal is amazing and gives great depth to the character. You really buy into her as a real person. On the other hand, we've got James Spader, whose character is also far from one-dimensional. You would expect the boss in this scenario to be kind of one note, and that doesn't really happen. There is some internal conflict in him as well, some struggle with fascination about Lee. There is an arc to his character as well. And both leads play quite well off of one another, that their chemistry is genuine. All in all, I think it's a decent movie, but it isn't a movie for everyone, that's for sure. I would, however, note that it certainly also isn't something for people looking for cheap erotic thrills. I'd say Secretary is a psychological story, first and foremost.